really interesting the past couple days, and I'm always in prayer, and I'm always in connection with the people I know, and sometimes even ones that I will pop into like connection. Okay, when normally I don't think about that person very often, or and then later on down the road it kind of like links up, and then I reconnect with someone, and then they tell me some experience they had or anything like that. So what I really, I'm the owner or founder of Life Changing Grace, and I welcome you here to my channels. And I am having technical difficulties again, starting all over again. So, but it's not quite as bad as it was last year, at the end of last year. So, I got this thing that I'd like to introduce myself to you, of how I listen to the Spirit, how I have that connection with Spirit, and it gives me a tug about a certain topic or a certain problem that, of course, if you follow me, you've heard me say this before, that all too often as humans, the second nature, it's actually second nature, not first nature, but it's second nature, that we think that we should have no problems. So, but the thing is then that saying goes, oh, I'm just going through it, and so many people, when you say, well, I'm just going through it, and you have a grin on your face, it's almost like, do they have a double emotion there or whatever, or are they hiding an emotion and deepening it down? And all too often when we think someone's we're going through it, or they're going through it, or they're going through something, okay, it's a bad thing. Okay, when personally, that's the way I feel about it. When I say I'm just going through it, in other words, I've figured it out. I've had my patience. I prayed. The Spirit has guided me, or even put someone in my life. Because when we connect, we build on each other. So, what I want you to understand is that when I come up with certain topics and stuff like that, I'll make these videos, okay, and they're in a box. And lots of times I'll just play them and I'll get them out to you. But then there's other times that I keep them, okay? And then, like, later down the road, something will pop up and it's like, okay, that word, that video that I didn't even get out yet, or I didn't look at, and I knew it was for somebody or a group of people out there, okay? I don't get into much details with the Spirit when I feel a tug or a feeling, and this is what I want to share with you, so that you understand kind of how I'm picking up on multiple people. It's not like just one certain person out there, or it seems like, okay, I might say the word wrong, someone gets offended because they may think I'm pointing them out. First of all, I'll never use a story of another person unless it matches up with mine. And and I come connection and they tell me the story, and it's like, oh yeah, I remember kind of going through that, which it affected me the same way emotionally, and my body reacted in the same way that somebody else's would. The details wouldn't matter. So I have had a few things happen, and out there I want to say, Emily, I'm so proud of you, and thank you, Jesus, so much. The delivery was even better than to be expected, because it's my step grandbaby. I love you so much, Emily. You've been through so many of my trials, so I want to tell you, thank you so much. And I haven't asked you yet, but I want to kind of share a story of something that happened really traumatic to me as well. More so to you, because yes, it was happening to me, but it affected you more because when we see someone go through pain or go through a tragedy, okay, the pain is more excruciating when it's the other person and you're there for that person, or you're trying to just be there and you just don't know what to do, but just by simply being there, you know, that person goes through more. So that's when you know, like a grandparent is not remembering things, and okay, when we feel out of control because we want to help that person, that is the most excruciating pain ever. To, you know, I'm 49, will be 49. So, but my grandkids just keep me young and, you know, and all that. So, you know, yes, I act childlike a lot, but not childish. But anyway, to get back to this point, so I want to, I mean, I won't let you know all of it because too much of the communication relationship, because spirit and relationship, it really is one personal thing. Okay, but the thing is that when other people are growing in the spirit, their journey's slightly different, but you'll notice as you join up with the ones that are stronger in the other areas of the spirit, and you're stronger in the other areas that they may need, when you come together, you magnify God. So it'll end up being, you'll realize it's not contradicting itself. Beside, you push away the details, but it's the same thing. So the spirit does communicate very much alike in other people. So, anyway, I'm just so happy. I hear what I hear this morning, that Everett came in the world great with less stress than even and then even they were talking about, you know. And the thing is that we may talk about it and we'll give the information, but then we faithfully pray and we switch our words and we switch our minds into the faith that we know that the Lord will do better than what maybe a blood test shows or a doctor can see with the results, or unexplainable, unseen, having faith in the unseen. I really hope that I'm talking slow enough, because it just seems like my internet is slowed down. I've done every possible way. I've gotten rid of some of the glitches and twitches and stuff like that was going on, but my internet is slowed down. So I apologize for that if my lips aren't matching up to my words. But I was wanting to share a couple things with you guys. You know, we all have our built relationship with the spirit, you know, and sometimes we don't even realize that we really do have that connection, especially in life when you're getting told and pulled around and you just feel just so worn out about everything going on out there. And I'm so blessed. I don't have to go to the grocery store very often. I don't. The one thing is that we count our blessings and we know that God knows better and knows that He will do better, and we even faithfully know that He's even more faithful than we are in our hearts. So the growth period for each person will be different, and it might be something like this. And then when you get together and speak and talk and pray, and then you line back up and it makes you magnified, and then it's an up and down, you know, experience, you know. And then when we do come together and we share our experiences, that's like, oh, okay, was that what that was last year or something like that? So then you recognize it, and then you'll get stronger and stronger in that way. So and then, like, sometimes, like I'm saying, that I don't ask for details. I let the Spirit just show it to me for whatever purpose it may be. You know, I really like the fact that and it's not, doesn't have to be a ritual, but, you know, if you get woke up and you pray and you feel that tug and you're like, oh, you know, your spirit, you know, give me what I need to know, if I need to know any details or whatever the case may be. Okay, and I do a lot of talking in my mind, in my mind's eye. But we went to lunch yesterday at a place that we go to the breakfast all the time, and my brother's used to this. He's used to things like, and it even aggravates him. I know it does, because he does this. But anyway, I understand it, and I have forgiveness. I'm like, okay, don't ask why. It's just because. So anyway, it was really weird because it was at the end of when we were eating and stuff like that, and there wasn't many people in there, and after I got done eating, and of course we're sitting there talking, and we're both done eating, so it was like a reflex, and I went to get up, like we were leaving. And I knew we hadn't been there long enough. He hadn't got the check yet. I physically, in my own subconscious, I knew he hadn't paid. But what my body was doing, what I was doing is getting ready to go. We were going to go out and all that. Now, my brother just simply looks up. Not often does he ask me, you know, he does ask me what I'm doing sometimes, but not in this manner. It's like, what are you doing? Where are you going? You know, like, where are you going? Are you going to the bathroom? Where are you going? You know, because I was acting as though even he felt it, because when we come together, we magnify every now and then. So, what had happened, somebody had paid for our lunch. But but when he asked me, what are you doing? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. I guess we're going, but I know you haven't paid, before he had a chance to say anything. I'm like, that's right, you ain't paid. So as I go to sit back down again, I'm like, I don't really understand what I'm doing. And I'm really hoping nobody's seeing what I'm doing or whatever, but it kind of feels like they are seeing what I'm doing. So I'm sitting down, so I'm starting to feel a little nervous. So our waiter comes over, and anyway, we were asking for the check. And he goes, oh, don't worry about it. It's already been paid for. But anyway, it didn't even click with me then. It took me going out to the car and sitting there and evaluating what just happened to understand that I act so much from the spirit, and I don't ask why I do the certain things I do, you know, and sometimes, and the thing is when there's confusion, like, you know that when there's confusion, that the Spirit's trying to show you something or trying to send you something, because when confusion comes in, and like, the enemy uses that so that you'll miss the Spirit, and then later you'll be so hard on yourself, like, why didn't I do this, or why didn't I do that? So, and it's like, and I would know to do this normally, but, you know, I was all over the place that day, or I had this project going and that project going, and I had this study going and that study going, and you were trying to just do so much in one day that you got nothing accomplished. Okay, so when that kind of like sets in and comes in, and the thing is the enemy would do the same thing and use people, and he does use my brother a lot, which I love it, and I praise it. That's what we got to do. We have to praise it and realize it and punch through the things. Through the things. When we say we're going through something, okay, and the thing is, it doesn't necessarily have to be anyone that's around you either. We may say something and someone gets offended, and it had nothing to do with the way we said it to them or how we said it. So, and when I make these videos as well, I have a certain topic, and somebody running through my head, and I'm like, there's really someone out there that needs to feel that. And lots of times I'll be like, okay, maybe it might be my daughter, it might be my sister, it might be my dad, it might be, or whatever, and it doesn't matter. I don't ask questions, and know the Spirit will give me just what I need, if I need anything at all. So, and that's what's this. This can be fun, but the thing is that you have to realize that the enemy will always come in and try to. So we have to notice this and then say, okay, I got to get a grip of myself. I got to do a meditation, which only takes like 5 minutes to sit there and quiet. You can even do it on the toilet if you'd like. Or if you're in a crowd of people and there's a lot of emotions going on and something just went down and you're like, okay, I remember I speak from where I've been. Now, when I speak from where I've been, if my story may blend in with your story, then it's not a coincidence. And that's the thing too, is that some of you I've already spoke to before I even made the video. So I got to start making a habit myself, because we're always making habits. There's always places we can be better, especially when we're connected to the Spirit. And we have to have that relationship and not allow the distractions to pull us too far away, because then your physical body can only take so much, and it is a magnifying, healing machine. That is the first nature. That is not second nature. It's first nature. It was the way we were born. It is our job to train up our young warriors. It's our job to become stronger warriors in the Spirit, because then the things that are going on out there, okay, it won't be such a jar, like when it happens, it won't be such like a bumpy road. You have some cushion. You'll have that sword, and you'll be slinging around the words of the Lord. And when you start speaking the words of the Lord, then you know when it's in your mind, because the battle is always in your mind, and it always gets you there first, and then it'll try to grab your heart too as well, and use your words. Once it comes from the mind, it comes out your words, it affects your heart really quick. So but anyway, there was that, because I'll feel that tug in that toe, and I think it is actually the 16th or the 17th. Anyway, when I meditate a lot, like every single day, and that's what I consider a lot compared to last year, which is, I enjoy it. I love it. It's very beneficial in so many ways, especially when things are supposed to come in to remind you. It does try to stop you, but once you get that ability and you practice that muscle to push it away, you can clear that and say, yeah, checklist. It's kind of like cleansing out everything that you need, all your goals, even the ones that you might have forgotten, they'll come to you. So you push them away, and then when you can silence that, you can hear that still soft voice that you normally wouldn't hear. So that's how I communicate. And when you're like that and you're in touch, you kind of know that there's emotions that aren't your own, especially when a lot of people say, if you knew me, I'd live a lonely, secured life, or I get out. I get out. I don't get out as much as I ought to, but I'm also working on me too. And if you know me, I've shared stories with you. You know the darkest places I've come from. Thank you, Jesus. There's no way that you could have told me 3 years ago I would be where I am today. And I would completely, because I've been here for 3 years, so in this place in Inverness, sunny Florida. So back home were my mom and my dad, which they're not here no more, but my stepdad actually, but I still have my dad, thank you, Jesus. So that's the thing, my connection. So what I'm really trying to say, and that's what I'm saying, I don't understand why that this message is coming through. Okay, I freely make these videos and I pray about it, and then I'll just start making the video. And then I like to try to take the time to, just listen to myself, and I'll correct myself. Always, because we can always afford improvement. And we have to start somewhere. So the real strong pull that I was feeling is that I've had to start my pages over because I've been flagged. There's just so many things I guess I've done wrong or complaints. I have had those, and but anyway, I just don't quite understand, and I don't mean to offend anybody at all, but yes, when you become this way, people become your enemy really quick, and then but anyway, what I was getting to is that I don't want any of you being offended, especially, and I'm not going to share your story, like literally. I may share my story and then say, yeah, and then I, spoke to a friend. I am going to start saying client instead of saying friend, because a lot of you guys turned out to be clients, and then you guys have become friends, and you've become family, and then even you guys ended up becoming clients, and then we later on found out that we knew each other from 10 years ago, and I hung out with a friend of a friend of a friend, or whatever the case would be. But anyway, it's like destiny. It's like we find each other. We might lose each other earlier in life, and then we find each other again as the years go by, and then you reconnect. And but I'm not pointing anyone out. I'll always ask if it's okay if I share your story. Or a lot of you that know me, that we've become family, spiritual warriors together, we just match up. We'll call each other, or we'll text each other, or I'll make a video. Like I said, I'll make a video at a certain date, and I was going to tell you the date. I do have to make that happen and say the date, and when I made the video, because doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to make this video and I'm going to put it out today. But I will do this one, and it's the 16th day, I believe. It's Tuesday, and it's March. So yes, I mean, when you I hate when this happens, and I know what it is. The Spirit's trying to show me something, and then the enemy's trying to come in and disturb it. I freely do this, so lots of times my videos, I never plan to say it, and then some other message will come in and tell me to say, and that's the faith. The more you do it, the more it'll become a habit. So, but I'll laugh, or I'll pause for a little bit, so that I can. You have to rejoice even in the chaos. Because once you get connected to the Spirit, and that's a habit, because any relationship that you work on always shows, and it's always growing. So when we're going through something, that's not a bad thing. At least we're going through it. We're not stuck, and as long as we're not stuck, then we can start, either we can bask in our pain and moan and groan, or we can go through it. And lots of times when we go through it, there's a screaming, there's a venting, there's a journaling, there's hours of meditation, especially when I'm very sensitive to other people's emotions. I went through childhood, or went through the middle of, because I went through childhood, my grandmother just knew these things. This new science and stuff, that's what she knew. She explained it different, and I understood it because we went through it together, and we would talk, and we would just connect. Because sometimes when you connect with a certain person, no words can truly express what that two people together is experiencing at that moment, or them two people experienced at an earlier or later time and moment. So words, that's how the enemy has taken myself throughout my life, is tried to use my words, and always being misunderstood because of my words or my cockiness. I used to be such a cocky person. Very nasty and I'm still snappy, you know. And the thing is that then when you see other people that it's like, you know what, that just sounds really awful. That cocky, you know, reaction back to maybe a question. I'm seeing a lot of that with like children asking a question and you gotta remember I'm like at the bus stop, I walk around the neighborhood and stuff like that and I'll hear things, you know, and normally if I'm on the road and you know they're in the backyard or in the car or something like that, normally you wouldn't think that person that's walking down the road can actually hear, you know, before you ended up approaching, but fortunately I'm meditating, I can do that and hear certain things, and then as I approach the people, or approach the home, I can even hear inside the home, and it's like that sounded just like I used to be, and most of the time when we're seeming to judge other people, or we're like, oh my God, that just sounded really awful, and then you're like, you get that reminder, and the Spirit will always keep that reminder on you that you did that too. And when we're correcting other people, and then sometimes when we get once we get older, things that irritate us when we're older is things that we did when we were younger. So it's kind of funny how it does that. And but you know, even when you were young, if anyone had came up and tried to be honest with you, and or even tape you, because we got devices now, we can tape people, you know, and go ahead and tape it, and then when the right time is, maybe possibly, you know, go to the person. Always go to the person face to face and discuss the issue or the problem with that person face to face, always first, before you go and trying to find the answer or something you want to hear by gossiping and talking to other people and complaining. So that, and see, I wasn't even planning on saying that at all, and that's a way to kind of determine whether, okay, are you falling into this ditch of gossip and moaning and complaining, or you know, sometimes we're just tired of seeing it or tired of hearing things, okay, because it's so negative that we got our own negativity, and we just, and we're entitled to that. But we also have to be entitled to correction and realize, hey, you know, maybe it was a little too harsh. We had a hard day at work. Maybe something's still working in our head, or maybe a bad conversation on the phone, or there's something that just keeps showing up in your life that's aggravating you, and the people we love the most, we could be answering them and we don't even know the tone of our voice or anything like that. So such as myself, most of my life I've had to realize that I'm not really hearing myself. I was born deaf, and I went through years of my middle age raising my children forgetting that I was. So I had tubes put in my ears and stuff like that, and I was a very ill baby, and some of the things that even happen to me right now as an adult, being connected to the Spirit, and then the enemy trying to interrupt that, you know, even with a headache, the enemy will come in like that and barge and use loved ones to do the same, even if we don't even know that our loved ones are being attacked, because I'll be attached to them. Okay, I'll feel that emotion. I'm like, there's no reason. I've gone nowhere today. There's no reason that fits into my environment. So you always have to be focused on what's going on around you and in your head. So once you do that, you can realize that, okay, maybe it's so-and-so that feels like this, especially when it's your children, because you know you felt that way before. Regardless of the details, or trying to see where it's better or worse. Okay, just see the similarities, and because it still affects the body the same way, and it affects our loved ones as well. The enemy will attack our loved ones knowing this effect. So it's kind of like, let's bombard the person so that you don't see this person walk by, or you don't hear that person trying to tap in. So there's certain things that, what was the one thing? I'm trying to think. There was another thing that had happened, I think it was last night. It was something that happened last night, and when you have an indifferent kind of that interrupts a routine, okay, but it's good. It's not bad. You just don't know why you end up just doing it. Whatever, that's out of the normal. So you just go ahead and you go to sleep, or you can't go to sleep and you stay up praying. You just don't know why, and you feel this emotion that really has nothing to do with you, but you remember feeling like that because you experienced it. So that's how I channel through it. And the thing is that I don't have to be near the person, and you'll always grow with the spirit constantly until you die. I don't want to use that so easily, because some people are very afraid of death. There's a lot of fear out there, so I don't want you guys to be offended or anything like that. And if you are, and you care to leave a comment, subscribe below. You're invited to my group page here too. Likes and share. Share. Just sharing it with people. Because the thing is that it's not, the messages and things I talk about isn't just for just one person. And some of the messages that I'm talking about are I will share some struggle that's hit me again to put me in reminder of what I forgot when I went through the lesson then, at another time, or, later or earlier time. But then it later surfaces back up, and it's like, well, you know what? I would have kind of forgotten that lesson if it had not emerged back up. But you hit it with authority and like conviction. You know that you've been through that already. You know that what good and bad, the Spirit always keeps you in reminder. So I'm being told that this is actually, I'm glad my phone's working really good. So it's been 30 minutes, and God bless you all, and I hope that helps you a little bit understand how I channel and connect, and realize that I hope that my words and no offense of any sort whatsoever. There's no judgment, and when our soul's wounded, you might get offended from time to time, but that's what it's all about, is killing that part that makes you offended, and realizing that we've all been there, we've all going to be there, we're there together, coming into unity. 2 cops have just been killed. I mean, is this by chance or by choice that we're choosing this hatred? So anyway, we do have the will. Everybody has it. So God bless. Until next time, see ya.